Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your Tired Midnight Blogger, what blogs at midnight, and with me here we have Cephalopod Primus, the artist formerly known as Thade.
Howdy, everybody.
And we are here to discuss ancient civilizations, basically the things that came before, the things that normal archaeology, normal history don't necessarily want anybody to know about. Before we get too deeply in, I want to say hello to Moira Kitty, who showed up in the cat and in the chat. Meow meow to the and I know, sir, I know you've been recovering from an injury. I'm so glad you were able to make it here. How have you been?
Yeah, sometimes remodeling a house sucks.
Yes, I don't know if I would be any good with that myself. So,
Yeah, well, I should pay more attention to where the weak spots are in the floor. That's all I'm saying.
it's more like I've never done anything like that. Here, while about a year ago, I was climbing up on this thing at work, and I weigh a little bit more than I used to. And I fell and I caught myself, and I was still strong enough to stop myself, but I also tore some stuff in my shoulders. So, stuff happens.
Yeah, I injured everything on my right leg from the knee down. So
yeah, you shared some pictures. They were pretty scary.
They were gruesome. We can be truthful here.
I'm glad that you've recovered. I'm glad that you're here. I know that you have some things prepared, and so without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the topic if you would like.
Okay, so we were talking about Göbekli Tepe last week, and some of the ancient civilizations beforehand. And we talked about a little bit about the Younger Dryas Ice Age and what might have caused it. Well, there's a really interesting YouTuber. He kind of has a gimmick with a goldfish. His channel's called the Y-Files.
And I want one of those plushies. Anyway, go ahead.
I want the Hecklefish plushie that has the tinfoil hat on.
Yes. For my birthday, I may just get myself that. But anyway, go ahead.
They made Hecklefish tennis shoes.
Whoa, oh my gosh.
They're called Heckle shoes.
I can see myself working out in the gym because I have, I need more troubles meeting women, which really isn't a big deal. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So, no, one of the things that he's got is there's a coffee mug that he sells on his merch store.
Yes.
And it says lizard people on it.
Yes.
Instead of lizard, it says lizard.
I don't mean to get off topic, but have you seen his what I think is his latest one, the one about DARPA?
Yes.
Oh my God. I mean, you've watched more of his stuff than I have, but I think that's the best one I've seen.
And he put himself out there to make that video. He really
did.
Because I mean, the way DARPA runs things, they have been known to take people down. So far, he's still up. So far, but he may have to really he gets demonetized every once in a while. He actually has a podcast called Operation Podcast.
Yeah,
that he does a show called Redacted on, which is stuff he can't talk about on YouTube.
Right.
And some of those get as deep as that DARPA one.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I'm not meaning to steal your thunder at all. I know you're going to do the presentation, but just to share with people what we're talking about, this is the Y-Files. This is the Hecklefish.
This is AJ and his gimmick Hecklefish.
Yeah, but it's so good.
AJ, actually, his company that he runs, it does the Y-Files show. It's him and his brother and his wife.
Okay, cool.
AJ was a Hollywood guy for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And he ended up having some problems during the pandemic.
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
And this is when he started building the Y-Files channel, and this is what he does full-time now. but this is actually almost Hollywood produced. His channel,
It's
like
really good. It's really well produced stuff. I like it.
he has like documentary style presentation.
I don't know if I'll find it here. I probably won't, and I'll let go of this before too long, so you can do your thing. But I had seen one. He had something that seemed to be kind of a cross between his podcast and the videos, and I can't find it now. But the fascinating, I mean, there were several fascinating things about it, but the thing that I really loved is he just kind of had his camera pan back through, and I guess it's a moderately small number of people, but he has a staff of people backing him up.
Yeah, he has like
And
it's his brother. It's his brother, his wife, and like 4 or 5 other people. But yeah, he has a great guy. He also has a Discord.
Oh, nice.
There's a Discord group for the Wi-Fi's. He also, if you do the Patreon, if you pay for his Patreon, for like $3 a month, if you do the $3 level for Patreon, you actually get to do Discord chats and stuff with him and his crew.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Where you can come on and talk to them and ask them questions. Really cool dude. Kind of find out who Hecklefish really is.
Here is his Patreon page. I'm going to drop that in the chat. So if anyone is interested in supporting his work, you can go right there.
AJ is a really good YouTuber. He's pretty fair. He doesn't play the politics game. And he's fair when it comes to certain topics that he talks about. You know, he'll tell you the ones he believes in and the ones he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But he does it. He runs it like a story, and he tells you the story, and then he debunks it.
Yeah, or at least he does if he can. Yeah,
right. And I think that's really cool how he does that. Like he presents it to you, and then he debunks what he can, or sometimes he agrees with what is going on with it. You never know. It's a mixed bag with AJ, but he's a good guy. I love his show, and we're gonna play a clip here from his video on Göbekli Tepe.
Cool beans.
Talking about what would happen if an asteroid, if the Younger Dryas impact happened, and why we're not finding evidence of ancient civilizations. So, without further ado, I'm going to share the screen.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Ooh, there he goes.
All right. And
nice.
Go.
This is why Göbekli Tepe was deliberately filled in. Now, the working theory is the earlier structures were pretty big and dug into a mound. An earthquake hit, knocked everything into the mound, and made a mess of things. Then everyone in the area filled in the rest of the...
Okay, so what we're talking about, when he talks about an earthquake messing up part of Göbekli Tepe, one must understand that the Anatolia region of Turkey is very, very seismically active. In fact, about 3 months ago, there was an earthquake that damaged some of Göbekli Tepe again.
Oh, no.
It didn't damage it too badly, but they had to reset some of the pillars.
Okay.
But it was a pretty significant earthquake. It was like a 6.5, something like that went through there.
Oh.
And it affected a lot of the cities on the plain of Anatolia. There's even they found an older one again, Curtis.
Oh, fantastic!
Here recently, there was another YouTuber talking about it, and it's older again than Bengkulu Tarlo, which is the oldest of them out there. So now they're saying that this metropolis on the Anatolia Highlands could have started around 20,000 years ago, 18 to 20,000 years ago. And it was just a subsequent building out from little villages into what could have become something like the ancient world's idea of New York, of modern New York City.
Oh, wow.
Manhattan and the 5 boroughs and all of that. Because remember, we talked about last week that there's sections that seem like they were merchant areas. Then there's the temple, which is Göbekli Tepe. Then you've got Bengkulu Tarla, which is like the residential areas, and some of the other little places out there, Karahan Tepe and shit like that,
Okay.
where they think they found evidence of plumbing even
Oh, that's
in the
amazing.
residential areas, which would make that 5,000 or 6,000 years before the Romans invented plumbing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if I win the lottery, I may just might get a freaking archaeology degree and go dig somewhere.
Well, I want to. You can visit Göbekli Tepe.
Right.
They actually have a package that you can pay for to go visit, and I may after I get this voice acting stuff going. Once I'm between projects, I may actually go over there and at least go see it.
That would be really amazing.
And we might make a field trip out of it, Curtis.
Well, I'm well, as you know, I'm also getting on my feet, so we'll see. But if we end up enough on our feet, heck yeah, I'll be happy to
If
go out
nothing
and
else,
take a look with you.
I can live stream from out there,
There you go.
and you can be the guy in the office basically,
There we go.
and I can
There
be
we
the
go.
guy in the field.
There we go. I like it. I don't know if I would want to leave my dog anyway. I guess I could take her on the plane.
But so basically, that's what he's talking about. Like earthquakes happen all the time out on the Anatolia Highlands,
Mm-hmm.
and they may have filled it in because parts of it were getting hurt by the earthquakes.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's basically what he's saying here.
Interesting. Okay.
The whole and built newer, smaller structures around the older, larger ones. Structures that were designed to withstand earthquakes. Now, no one really knows for sure, but it's a theory that makes sense to me. And there are some issues with the dates as well. The date on Pillar 43, the Vulture Stone, that's 13,000 years ago. That doesn't line up with the end of the Younger Dryas, so it's not describing the Great Flood. But that date does line up with the beginning of the Younger Dryas. Was there an impact at that time too? Well, there probably was. It's believed that the abrupt cooling 13,000 years ago was caused by a series of events that happened at the same time. There are ice core samples that show an impact 12,887 years ago, and that date is accurate within 5 years. And this happened at the same time as a large volcanic eruption in Germany. This caused the Earth to be covered in soot, which caused years of darkness. Meanwhile, the impacts disrupted the ocean currents, so everything got cold again. Not as cold as before, but still cold. Then about 1,000 years later, another event.
Okay, so what he's talking about here is when you have as much heat, when an impact causes the heat that would melt the glaciers during the Ice Age,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you're dumping all of that fresh water into salt water,
Mm-hmm.
which causes what they call a desalinization event.
Mm-hmm.
And if a desalinization event happens, then that usually drives us into an ice age much quicker than just gradually flowing into one.
Okay, that makes sense.
In fact, most of human history, we've been in what they call the mini ice age.
Yeah, I know that we that's been discussed on certain channels too, about how if you look at pictures from the 1500s, there's a lot more ice, a lot more cold.
And yes, we are currently in a warming trend right now because of what our sun is doing.
Right.
God, I hate when I fumble on words.
Oh,
Our sun is going through a luminosity cycle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It happens every 13 or 14 years.
Something like that.
And it lasts for a year. And right now we are on the upscale of that. Next year is going to be very interesting. And we'll be lucky if we don't catch a CMB that are a solar flare, a solar storm, that could even rival the Carrington event back in the 1800s.
Ooh, that's frightening.
Because this particular cycle, our sun has been really, really active.
Yeah.
And we don't know why, because the last time it was active, but it wasn't as active as it has been. So We almost had this happen back in 2012. It missed us by 9 days.
Hmm.
If we
Okay.
had been in a different spot when the solar storm went off, we would have caught a Class 7 solar flare,
Okay.
and that's worse than the Carrington event.
That would not be good.
Yeah.
No.
So we missed it by 9 days in 2012. So hopefully next year we won't get one, but hey, we never know.
Now, for those that don't know what the Carrington event is, could you describe that fairly quickly so that
The
the
Carrington event was a solar flare that hit our planet. I think it was 1859, I believe.
somewhere in there.
It was the middle 1800s.
Okay.
And when the solar flare hit, an astronomer by the name of Carrington was actually watching the sun at the time,
Right?
and he noticed it coming.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
the reason why they named it after him is when it hit our planet, the only technology we really had at the time was telegraph.
Exactly.
It fried telegraph lines. The energy from the sun as that solar flare hit us penetrated our atmosphere, and the magnetism of that solar flare started screwing with the electrical lines for the telegraph.
That's crazy.
It was so bad that in some places the telegraph machines themselves burst into flames.
Yeah, I have heard that.
The whole telegraph system went down for 3 months. They actually, when they started popping off, some of the telegram systems like warned the other ones, "Hey, take yourselves offline real quick. Otherwise, you're going to have to take care of damage." Now, if something like that happened now, we are so dependent on technology that if a solar burst happens of that power into the Earth at this point, that you can kiss the satellites goodbye.
Yeah.
You can kiss most of our electrical grids goodbye, and this could be for years before we get any of this back online. The internet will go dark. Hell, AJ has a video on that too, because he believes that's part of what happened with the Younger Dryas event.
Interesting. Okay.
He's actually much more terrified of a CMB than he is of a of an asteroid.
I can understand that, actually. I don't know which one, but that I'm more worried about. But they're both frightening thoughts that something like that could happen.
A lot of people seem to think that humans are the major factor that affects this planet. And don't get me wrong, we do affect this planet.
We do, and we need to clean up our acts. But having said that,
but we also, our planet goes through natural cycles.
Yes.
And it's all connected, not just Earth, but the sun and the way the moon is. And, because if we didn't have the moon, we would spin faster.
Yes.
And the moon is leaving us by a centimeter a year. It's moving away from us. We will eventually lose the moon. It may take a couple of million years, but we'll eventually lose the moon because it'll get caught in the gravity of something else and it'll go away. Either that or it'll hit the Roche limit, rip apart, and then pepper us with asteroids.
Right. Yeah, that should be fun.
Which is not good.
No.
There's actually a comet out there right now that the Western United States, you lucky bastards, will get to see coming by with the naked eye.
Oh, that's fantastic.
In the night sky for the next couple of days, you'll see it out there.
Oh, man.
And it's going to pass us closer to us than the moon.
Oh, man.
And it's big.
I can hear Graham Hancock now. We need to get that thing tapped away somehow.
Well, Graham Hancock used to be about destroying them, getting rid of these big asteroids.
Yes.
But now him and a lot of those guys that believe, those situations, a lot of those guys are now talking about, well, we can put these solar sails on them and move them away. Mm-hmm. And we had a thing called the DART project a while back, that we landed on an asteroid. We actually moved it out of the way 5 foot.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that dimly. I'd forgotten about that until you reminded me. Yeah, that
So
was cool.
we can do it, but that was a smaller asteroid. My question is if we got something 6 miles wide coming at us, are we going to be able to shoot these things on it and make it go away?
Yeah, that I wouldn't know.
And the thing about these asteroids is people don't realize there's a certain gravitational keyhole.
Mhm.
Okay? You can have one of these asteroids that passes between us and the moon, and it can be large as hell and dangerous to us. But it'll never hit us because it won't hit the keyhole.
Gotcha.
But if it's within, 5 foot either direction, we could have a bad day the next time that thing comes back around.
Yep. Very true.
And the
Very
one
true.
asteroid that we're worried about right now is an asteroid called Apophis, which is, I think it's 1.5 miles wide.
Okay.
And it'll pass us in 2027. If it hits within that keyhole, when it comes back around in 2032, it's going to be a direct hit.
Yeah, I'm seeing online now. A near-Earth asteroid, potentially hazardous, with a diameter of, according to this, 1,210 feet.
Yeah, it's about 1.5 miles.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
that's what we call a city killer.
mm-hmm.
It won't destroy our civilization, but wherever it fucking hits, it's going to have some issues.
Yeah.
If it hits on land, it'll be better than if it hits in the ocean.
Yes, I remember we discussed that in our last episode. So, yeah.
If it's a land impact, it'll just destroy that area.
Gotcha. And
if it's an ocean impact, you have the idea of a tsunami that could be all of 500 foot high, to 500 to 1,000 foot high.
And doesn't the Wi-Fi's guy, he talks about all that, I believe.
Here in just a minute when we continue this video.
Okay. Cool beans.
All right.
Maybe another impact, maybe a massive solar event. We don't really know for sure, but something did happen to warm the Earth and melt the ice caps really fast. We do have evidence of cultures that existed before, during, and after the Younger Dryas. Now, did we debunk the idea of an advanced culture before that? Absolutely not. I'm just trying to give you the full picture. There absolutely could have been someone else here long ago. Now, we've talked before about how it would take only about 10,000 years before all evidence of the human race is gone. But here's the thing about that number. Civilization disappearing in 10,000 years assumes the Earth is peaceful. If one of these years the Taurid meteor shower threw a rock at us, like it did during the Younger Dryas, well, it wouldn't take 10,000 years to erase our civilization. We'd be gone in a day.
Now we're about to terrify you.
Here's how it happens. It's a brisk November evening. Maybe this year, maybe 20 years from now. It doesn't matter. Every November, the Earth passes.
Okay, so we pass through, every fall, we pass through a thing called the Taurid meteor stream.
Correct.
Okay. Most of the time, it just gives us a pretty light show.
Right.
But every once in a while, we catch something the size of a Volkswagen bus.
Right.
That actually makes contact with the land. The Taurid meteor stream is not a safe place, baby.
Okay. No, it's really not.
Because the Taurids, what they used to be, and he's about to talk about it, is there was a mega comet back before the dinosaurs got wiped out. This thing shattered. And when we fly through the Taurid stream, that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, and not every year necessarily, but every now and then a big chunk of it hits us.
Yeah.
Through the Taurid meteor cloud, and the Earth's sky lights up. People gather all over the world to see the event. Meteor watching parties are common. You and a few friends decide to get together and see the show.
I've never done that.
The sky does not disappoint.
I love
shooting stars zip across the night sky like fireflies. There are even larger comets that streak by for a full second or two before burning out. And once in a while, a big one. It's a fireball that lights up the sky. And for a moment, night turns to day.
I've actually experienced that.
That's fantastic.
When I was a kid,
Uh-huh.
We were doing a Wednesday night church event because I used to go to a Southern Baptist church.
Mm-hmm.
Even though my parents were Catholic, I didn't go to church with my parents. I was allowed to practice my own religion when I was younger.
Right.
And I went to church with some friends.
Right.
Well, one night we were all at the church for a Wednesday night thing, and I think I was about 13. It was right after I came back to the States from the UK. And we're all outside playing in the field. The sky lit up green.
Wow.
And we saw something streak over us and hit a field about 300 yards away from us. And of course, all of us kids went and told the adults something happened.
Right.
And we ran out to the field to see it because we were stupid teenagers. You know?
Yeah.
And there was this impact that had to have been. The initial impact was probably, I'd say, 6 or 7 foot deep. And it ground a line. Like, it hit at an angle to where it, like, drug that impact out for about 300 yards. And at the very end of it was the rock that hit. Or pieces of it. And it's imagined that the part of it that we pulled out that we actually took to the local college, the local university, to their science department. We pulled out a rock out of that crater, roughly the size of a good-sized computer desk.
That's amazing. That's crazy.
And it had to sit there for a day or two till it cooled off because it was awfully hot when it came in. Because when we saw it in the end of the crater, it was glowing red hot.
Gotcha.
And it was putting off. There was heat. And you know, of course, when these things come in, they do bring in radiation with them.
Right. Yeah.
And the adults wouldn't let us get too close. They were like, no, don't go out there.
Yeah.
But we could see it. We were like 100 yards away from it. We could see it glowing, and we could feel the heat off of it, even 100 yards away.
That's insane.
It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in my life.
I can only imagine. I've never been anywhere near anything like that. I've seen a few shooting stars, but I've never had anything hit very close by.
I was living in a small town in Alaska. We had one come over one time that was an airburst.
Mm-hmm.
And do you ever hear about the Chelyabinsk situation in Russia?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
It did similar to what Chelyabinsk did. It wasn't as destructive, but it set off car alarms and it caused window breakage where it exploded over.
That's crazy.
And it was loud. Very, very loud.
Now, everyone's heart races, but fireballs like these are known to happen during the torrid shower. People remember the torrids of 2015. That year, fireballs hit the earth in swarms. In 2020, a torrid fireball exploded over Japan that sounded like a bomb going off. That one set off car alarms for miles. You continue to watch the sky and notice the shooting stars getting denser, thicker, then a fireball, then another. You feel a little anxiety, but the torrid meteors have been happening your whole life, and they've been nothing more than a light show. Then another fireball. This one looks like it's close. It vaporizes in a flash of light so bright that you have to shield your eyes. You and your group of sky watchers giggle nervously. Then 3 seconds later, a crack, then a boom. So loud you feel it in your stomach. Everyone agrees. This was fun, but let's go home. But now there's another fireball. Everyone turns to see. This one is different. It's not really streaking across the sky. It's expanding somehow. No, it's not expanding. It's coming closer. It comes closer and closer, and there's no way to tell how big it is. From where you're standing, it's like a mountain made of fire. Just as panic sets in, it disappears somewhere over the horizon. You let out a deep sigh. You didn't realize it, but for the past 30 seconds, You've been holding your breath. You and your group are now frantically gathering your belongings. That was more than enough excitement for one evening. You even ask yourself if you even want to do this again next year. But that question has already been answered for you. You just didn't know it yet. Over the horizon, where the fireball disappeared, a ball of light emerges. Everything is lit up like the day. No, brighter than that. It's so bright, everything is just white. The ball of white light grows larger and larger, and you feel something deep in your brain. That part of your brain that evolved 2 million years ago, that lizard brain. It sends you a single message. Run. You run.
Yes, one must listen to the brain.
About 3,000 miles
Exactly.
away, there has been an event. The meteor hits and vaporizes everything around the impact point for miles. Water, rock, cities, all vanish. Then the shock waves start. Earthquakes radiate out from the impact point over and over again as the earth reverberates like a bell. These earthquakes move faster than the speed of sound. They're so powerful, they disrupt the tectonic plates of the earth. That sets off a chain reaction of earthquakes and volcanoes across every major fault line. Forget LA and San Francisco. The San Andreas will either eat or burn the entire California coast. Then you've got the Cascadia subduction zone in the Pacific Northwest, the Hayward Fault, the Calaveras Fault, the Garlock, the Wasatch. They all erupt. From Western Canada to Baja, Mexico is leveled. Everything within 20 miles of the coast crumbles into the sea. Then the shock waves roll back around the planet again, and again, and again. The biggest fault system in the United States is the New Madrid seismic zone. The most powerful earthquakes in U.S. history.
I want to let everybody know I currently live on the New Madrid seismic zone.
Yay! Yeah, and
And it is
that.
it is worse than the everybody thinks California and San Andreas and all that and the Cascadia are the worst. No. I live on the worst. The last time we had a major earthquake here, about 150 years ago,
Right?
the Mississippi flowed backwards for 3 years.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah. And I live on it. Yay.
That's crazy.
We just recently had a really earth shaker a few days ago. So yeah.
Yeah. Oddly enough, Oklahoma's been having more and more earthquakes, but that's neither here nor there. So.
Well, part of what's causing Oklahoma and Texas problems is all the fracking for the oil wells.
That's what I've been told. Yeah.
They tried to, because my dad, we owned about 5,000 acres.
Cool.
In one spot, and then a couple thousand acres in another spot. Anyway, when they first came around and were trying to honey dick us on that shit, they told us, "Oh no, it's not going to cause earthquakes." And my dad, being the smart guy he was, the dude Arrington, the guy that was in charge of the project, he had his pet geologist tell us there wouldn't be earthquakes.
Of course he did.
And because he put together this barbecue for all the ranchers that he was trying to get land grants from, land rentals from, and he tried to have his pet geologist lie to us and tell us, "Oh no, it's not going to cause a problem." My dad actually called him out on it at the barbecue. My dad was like, "I'm not a geologist, but I'm a pretty smart cookie," and yeah. You're sure that's not going to cause earthquakes? Oh, no, sir. It's completely safe. My dad was like, yeah, you're drilling into a hole, putting pressurized water and dynamite down it, and blowing up rock strata to get to the gas. Sure,
Right.
you're not going to cause problems. Also, you got to understand, Texas has like 3 or 4 fault lines that run through it.
Right.
And one of the funniest construction projects down in Texas that I've always thought was funny was the Comanche Peak nuclear power plant.
No, okay.
Is on the Comanche Peak fault line.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
They stuck a nuclear power plant on top of an earthquake fault line.
I think the Japanese did something similar, didn't they? But
Fukushima. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mean to make light of their tragedy, but it's interesting where we put those things.
They did it. What are you hold on.
What we got?
The cat is doing something weird. Hold on.
Oh, Lord.
I have my bedroom door shut, and the cat's reaching his paw up under the bedroom door and meowing at me. Okay, kitty. Later. We'll talk later. It's okay. I'm doing a show.
Right.
The cat's outside my door. Meow, meow, and he reaches his paw up under the door.
Right. And Putin's cat is reminding us that Fukushima was caused by a tsunami. That's right. The tsunami was caused by an earthquake, but the tsunami is what? Yeah. So,
fracking is not okay, Putin's cat. Not at all.
No, he's just saying that it's happening in Oklahoma, I think. I could be misunderstanding him. But
it is happening, but that's a lot of the reason why the earthquakes are happening. And then they're relatively small. You know, you don't get anything over a 3 point whatever. Right. But you still get some relatively effective earthquakes. You know, it's going to shake the house.
Well, the first time in my entire life I was standing in a store and shelves were shaking and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is an earthquake. Neat.
Yeah, they're interesting when you feel them.
Have come from here. When that fault goes, say goodbye to Chicago, Indianapolis, St. Louis, and down to New Orleans. All gone, crumbled, on fire, or underwater. The New Madrid fault connects to the Ramapo fault in the east and sets it off like a fuse. Ramapo extends through Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. Then the Charleston fault in South Carolina goes next. From Boston to Seattle, from Maine to Miami, and everything in between. Earthquakes rock the country over and over again. And this is happening everywhere in the world. Then comes the wind. A Category 5 hurricane has wind speeds of 150 to 160 miles per hour. A Cat 5 hurricane is going to seem like a gentle afternoon. Rushing around the planet is a storm with winds over 1,000 miles per hour. This is called the air blast. Anything wooden is gone. Cars, boats, people, all gone. Only the sturdiest stone structures could survive the wind. But most stone structures have already been turned to rubble by the earthquakes. In some places, the wind lasts for 16 hours. And within the wind is everything. Buildings, cars, trees, everything. It's a food processor that pulverizes everything for hours. What happens next goes one of two ways. Option 1, the rock hits solid earth. Now, if that happens, heat and ejecta cause wildfires for thousands of miles around the impact point. Radiating out from the center is a fireball moving at twice the speed of sound. This fireball is hotter than the surface of the sun. A land impact also launches millions and millions of tons of ejecta into the atmosphere. In fact, millions of tons of molten rock will leave the atmosphere and go into space. The rock cools and forms a shell of debris in orbit around the Earth. No more space station, no more satellites. The ejecta that remains in the atmosphere blocks out the sun for months. But it only takes a few days for plant life to start dying. The entire food chain is disrupted within a week and completely collapses in a month. All food is gone. And that's a land impact. Option 2 is an ocean impact. This is probably worse. The rock hits, vaporizes the ocean water, and collides with the bedrock. The earthquakes begin like before, but what's really dramatic is the tsunami. But it's much more than a tsunami, more than a mega tsunami. What this is, there's really no name for it. A wall of water rises about 1.5 miles in the air. The water would be higher than the clouds if there were clouds. The shock waves and air blast dissipated all the clouds, leaving only dark streaks of smoke that turn the sky blood red. The wall of water extends in all directions. It moves at 500 miles per hour. By the time it makes landfall, it's even higher. As the water tears across the land, it collects debris. Every object the water touches is captured and becomes part of the wave. Within minutes, the front face of the wall is a solid mass of debris moving hundreds of miles per hour. The devastation is extreme. As the Earth reverberates, the secondary waves begin. These are smaller waves compared to the first, but they're still hundreds of feet high, and they pummel the coasts over and over and over again. About 24 hours later, the Earth settles. Volcanoes continue to erupt, and there are thousands of earthquake aftershocks, but most of the violence is over. This is the worst day in human history. But here's what's really scary. The scenario I just described has happened many times. So a question for the skeptics: how much evidence of human civilization would be left after this type of event? Skeptics say there would be evidence of trash, plastic, and steel. But would there? After the comet strike, the fireball, the shock waves, the 1,000-mile-an-hour wind, the string of mega tsunamis, I'm not sure how much of anything would be left after that. Now, you would think that this event would leave a mess of debris across the landscape, but it would be nothing like that. The land would be pristine. Well, pristine in a way. From horizon to horizon is mud. Nothing but mud. Everything has been pulverized into dust. Any object larger than a basketball is buried under mud 1,000 feet deep. Big archaeology says there was no early civilization because they haven't found one. Or maybe they just haven't dug deep enough.
And yeah, I think that is what he's talking
There's
about.
evidence of an ancient
Yeah.
advanced civilization in myths and...
Huh?
Putin's cat was asking if he's talking about advocating for advanced civilizations. He's saying pre-dinosaurs. At the very least,
Not
I
so
think
much
he's talking about
pre-dinosaurs,
pre-humans.
but pre-human.
Yeah, definitely pre-human. So
Also, I'm going to clap back a little bit, Putin's cat. Most of the nuclear power plants in the United States are not near the coast. In fact, they are inland. And in fact, the one in Texas, which I lived most of my life, most of my teenage years, about 30 or 40 miles away from, was in the middle of the hill country in Texas. Okay. So saying that most of them are on the coast, not so much. Second of all, the Fukushima disaster was caused by a tsunami, yes, but that was caused by an 8.9 earthquake. I can actually, and actually, Putin's cat, I can pull a map of where the nuclear reactors are in the United States, and most of them are not near bodies of water. Not major, not the ocean, not by the coastlines anyway. They may be near lakes and such, because you can get the water that you need to cool the
lakes or rivers that you
from
need
lakes
to cool
or rivers
down.
that you can cool the pins with, but they don't always have to be on a coastline. In fact, most of them in the United States are in the Appalachian area of the United States. I'm not saying that the earthquake itself destroyed the plant. I'm saying the earthquake caused the tsunami that caused the problem. So when Curtis said earlier it was caused by an earthquake, technically, yes, it was.
Indirectly. Yeah.
legends from cultures around the world. Not just evidence that a civilization was here, but also how it was destroyed. The book of Revelation describes events that could be interpreted as impacts.
And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Revelation 6.
That sounds exactly like the impact I described earlier. The stars fall to the earth, the darkness, the mighty wind, and earthquakes strong enough to move mountains. In Indian texts, the Vedas and the Mahabharata, they contain descriptions of celestial events and weapons that have been interpreted as comet or meteor impacts.
Gigantic elephants burnt by that weapon fell all around, uttering fierce cries loud as those of the clouds. Other huge elephants, scorched by that fire, ran hither and thither, and roared aloud in fear, as if in the midst of a forest conflagration. Mahabharata, Book 7.
That sounds like molten ejecta hitting the earth and setting everything on fire, just like we'd expect. The Lascaux caves in France are some of the most famous cave art ever found. One drawing, called The Shaft Scene, features a dying man and several animals. Researchers now say this describes a comet strike around 15,200 BC. Petroglyphs all over the world depict celestial objects with multiple tails. These have been suggested to represent the Taurid meteor swarm. This petroglyph from Forsyth County, Georgia, is Star Map. It suggests a comet impact event in 536 AD. Ice core samples from Greenland confirm an impact sometime between 533 and 540. That impact had global ramifications and cooled the Earth over 5 degrees. There are more examples of impacts, and these are just the most obvious ones. And notice that they're not all from thousands of years ago. Some are from just hundreds of years ago. The Tunguska event in 1908 is thought to be a Taurid meteor that strayed from the debris field. These impacts happen periodically, and they usually happen in the autumn when we cross the Taurid debris field. And maybe that's the story being told on the Vulture Stone at Göbekli Tepe. Not the story of what happened in the past, but the potential danger we face right now. The Taurid comets come every year, September to November. This year, the Taurid comets peak on November 6th. You can see them for yourself. Now, sure, most of them look like shooting stars, but some of them are fireballs that light up the entire sky. Now, why does big archaeology and every world government discount this story? Because there's not a thing they can do about it. Every time we pass through the Taurid comet cloud, we're playing Russian roulette. Every year, a new spin of the chamber, a new pull of the trigger. Now, chances are, when we pull the trigger, all we hear is a click. But there are objects in the Taurid cloud that are a mile wide. So even though the chance is small, there is a chance, a real chance, that one of those objects will find its way to us. And when that happens, our civilization ends once again. And there will be only a handful of survivors, the few people lucky enough to hide in mountain caves. And maybe those survivors will create cave paintings or rock carvings describing this world-ending event. However they do it, they'll want to tell our story, and it's an important one. Every year we take our chance with the Taurids. One year we're going to lose. Then the only thing left of us, our entire civilization, will be one more very short story.
Okay.
Cool beans.
So, and actually, Putin's cat, about 25% of the nuclear power plants in the United States are built within 20 miles of earthquake fault lines. So saying that it doesn't happen is wrong.
I think he's just saying that was what caused him to say what he said, but I don't know.
That's fine. I'm just letting him know that sometimes he says things that are not exactly researched.
Well, we all do. It's true. We all do. Enigma Cerberus, living in Foresight. Go ahead.
I try not to. I try to talk about Putin. Dude, chill. You're going to have to chill, brother. Seriously.
Yeah, I like the guy's ideas too. Yeah.
And like I said, most of the time he debunks things. Like, he'll tell you straight up they either didn't happen or they did happen. But there's some times where he talks about, like, the comet impacts, especially when he talks about the Younger Dryas, stuff like that. You're going to have, like, where he's like, it could have happened. We just don't know because there's not enough evidence
to
say one way or the other.
I think we've heard that. I can't remember where, but arguing from the absence of evidence doesn't really prove anything.
No, not at all.
Obviously, we can't prove, or I don't think we can prove although actually I know there's evidence. I don't know if it's proven, but I know there's evidence that a comet or asteroid or something struck during the Younger Dryas, but I'm not 100% sure that it's proven.
There is a crater that was found on the Hiawatha or under the Hiawatha Glacier in Greenland.
Okay.
That could possibly have been caused by a 1 to 2 mile wide asteroid. That is allegedly happened before the Younger Dryas.
Okay.
Which caused the initial Younger Dryas freezing. We still have yet to find the evidence of the secondary asteroid that hit at the end of the Younger Dryas.
Okay.
Because the Younger Dryas period lasted about 1,200 years.
Yeah.
Okay. There's an event that happened at the start of it that caused it, and there's an event that happened at the end of it that ended it.
Right.
The event that ended it is what possibly caused the Great Flood.
Yeah, and I think I've heard that. Yeah.
The ice core samples at the end of the Younger Dryas say within 5 or so years, either way, there was a 400-meter rise in the Earth's oceans over a period of about 4 months.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I do think the Wi-Fi guy is a little more leans toward the evolution than creation based. I'm not sure that he denies creation, but he does believe evolution happens.
He is a religious man, but he is a evolutionist, not a creationist.
Gotcha.
The way he sees the Bible is like parables.
Enigma Severus is asking if we're creation or evolution, and I tend to be kind of flim-flammy about it myself. I think God created everything, and I think that he guided evolution, but I think that evolution did happen. It may not have happened exactly the way scientists describe it necessarily, but I think it did happen.
Okay, so to explain my position on that, I myself am not a Christian.
I understand. Yeah.
However, I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in a supreme deity.
Right.
And I believe in a thing called intelligent design.
Yeah. Yeah.
What that says is that I believe that the scientific opinion of how the things became, the fact that we're 14 billion years old, the fact that, how planets and all that start. But I think that an intelligent creator is behind that.
Yeah.
Just because a scientific thing happened doesn't mean that there's not a hand guiding it.
Yeah. That's very largely, very largely, I believe at least a very similar thing.
And I have no problem with you asking my beliefs, Enigma server. So anything you have to ask me, I'm an open book.
And I don't know if this is helpful or if I should even bother, but I'm pretty sure that both Putin's cat and Enigma Severus are Christians. So, I'm just saying that so that hopefully we're, whatever we may or may not believe, we remain respectful to them, if that's okay.
And here's the thing. If you boys are Christians and you believe creationism, I'm all there for you. You guys are allowed to believe what you wish to believe, and I will support your ability to believe that with my life.
Hell to the yeah.
But that being said, I hold different beliefs than you. And I think that as long as we all respect that, we'll do okay.
Yeah. And again, in my typical flim-flam centrist thing, I'm probably somewhere in between you and them. I don't know exactly where on that spectrum I would lie, but I still, I still believe in Jesus. I'm not a fundamentalist anymore. And I know that often causes me to butt heads with other Christians.
People have asked me why I believe in evolution.
Yes, sir.
And I simply say I was raised on a ranch.
Yeah.
And I've seen how humankind can alter the way animal breeding happens.
Yeah.
The evidence of evolution is right in front of you. Humans 6,000 years ago were shorter.
Yep.
We are becoming taller because our moon is slowly leaving us.
Yeah.
Thus, the gravity is flowing outward and allowing us to become taller. It also is the abundance of food that we have available to us now that they may not have had available to them then. The fact that medicine has advanced enough to take care of us in that way. That kind of thing is what I'm saying. So the evidence of evolution is all around us, even in the human race. If you look at humans, that pinky, that pinky you've got at the end of your hand there, it's getting shorter every generation. Eventually, we won't have a pinky.
Huh, interesting. And Enigma Severus is saying that he is a Christian. He just doesn't bring it up every other minute. He's more about C.S. I mean, he's not more about C.S. Lewis. I think, if I understand Enigma Severus,
He probably has the
correctly,
same position as C.S. Lewis has.
he has a very and to be honest, like that's if one wants to know what I believe as far as spirituality and things, there's probably a 75 or 80% shot that you can pick up a C.S. Lewis book and find out what I believe too.
Oh yeah.
Having said that, I have, I'm not saying that I've divorced myself of everything that he says by any stretch, but I've lived and I've seen that at least some of my interpretations of Lewis may not be accurate. And so that's, again, I know I sound flim-flammy. I probably sound like Enigma Severus will understand this. I probably sound like one of the professors from the coordinated, the National Institute of Coordinated Experiments. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I've tried to have an open mind without necessarily completely abandoning everything that I think. Yeah, I guess that makes sense at Putin's cat, that the moon moving away would increase Earth's gravity on us. Enigma Severus says he does agree with specific ideas that are being brought up, and that's okay. Ultimately, our discussion here is not a world-ending issue. No, that's true. And I've had that. I talked to you about that in an email. I hope it's okay to bring it up here, that I think you and I, Enigma, agree on most of the important things. And if I'm wrong, well, my bad. I'm sorry about that. But I think we agree about most of the truly important things. So what else did we want to show or talk about, Mr. Cephalopod Primus?
Well, here's the thing. And there's actually a question on that Putin's cat about raising the Earth's gravity. It may not, but it will definitely influence the gravity one way or the other.
Yes.
We're just not sure yet because the moon hasn't left us yet. That being
Thank
said,
goodness.
yes, thank goodness, because lots of things will change if the moon goes away.
Yeah.
Which eventually, like I said, several million years it will. Are you a physicist, Putin? Did you even take physics in school? Just asking, because I have.
I have, but it's been so long ago that I don't really like to argue about it, because I would have to dig back up my books and see what's going on. But it absolutely would have some impact on the way gravity works on the Earth. We will have the moon in our lifetime. Yes, we absolutely will. At least as far as unless there is a catastrophic event so bad.
Electrical engineer. Okay.
Okay, cool. Cool beans.
Great. Physics major. Okay. The thing about physics is it changes every day. Our opinions on physics and the things that cause physics, yeah, but it changes every day, bro. In fact, when we put the James Webb Telescope out there, it's been changing things every couple of weeks. So, yeah. Okay.
I
It's
know
amazing that you're an electrical engineer, though. I give you kudos for that.
that is cool. That is cool. I was a physics major when I got sick. Not that anyone needs or cares to hear about that, but when I lost my scholarship, and I was just too sick to live almost. But I changed majors after that, and I really haven't picked up many physics books since. I was 20 years old back then.
For now, yes, it's pretty stable for now. I was listening to some videos and reading some literature on 7.2 magnitude earthquake in Peru.
Oh, wow.
Jesus. That's not good.
No, that's not good at all. No.
I have the U.S. Geological Survey on my phone, so it tells me earthquakes. It pops up a notice for me.
That's cool.
I used to one of my old computers when I was in my 20s. I used to run the seismographical stuff every day on a looping program.
Oh my gosh.
I was obsessed for about 5 years because we started getting earthquakes after the fracking down there in Texas.
Yeah, no.
And I was obsessed with trying to figure out if the severity got bigger or whatever. And
I understand.
Moon is getting 3.78 centimeters away per year in 5,000 years. 5,000 years. Hold on, I'll check the math on that. 7, 8.
Yeah, it's going to take a long, long, long time. I don't know exactly how long, but it would take many. I would think many millions of years before the moon escapes us.
Yeah, just about. You're about right. You're off by a few meters, but you're about right on that. The thing about it is like, when I say the moon's going away, I'm talking about on a time scale of millions of years.
Yeah.
Just like our sun, our sun is eventually one day going to expand into a red giant and eat us.
Right.
But we're talking another 4 billion years.
And I know this was a joke here, but yeah, Enigma Severus is right that there will probably be people who listen to us and take it out of context. Oh my gosh, the moon's leaving in our lifetime. Oh my god.
If the moon leaves us in our lifetime, then we've done something wrong.
Yeah, and Enigma Severus has a point here too. He's if you need to check, well, I say you need to check him out. I recommend checking out his channel because he does some movie reviews that are just amazing. But essentially, yeah, he's talking about the nuances between the different kinds of Christians. Some will say God will handle that. Others will say, well, God has an ordained time.
Putin's cat. It does affect our growth, though. We've gotten taller in the last 5,000 years. We've gone from a basic height of around 5 foot to now over 6 foot. It's one of the things that's affecting us. It's not the only thing affecting us. And I didn't say it was the only thing affecting us. It's just one of many.
Yeah, we came into existence out of a miracle, and we're probably going to leave it the same way.
Oh, that is entirely true.
I'm not typing to see myself. Okay. By the moon.
Yes, we understand that, Putin. I dig the name Putin's cat. It's very interesting.
It is really cool, and he's also got a good channel. I need to check it back out because I know he's done a face swap on there. But he's got some cool stuff there as well on his channel. But sometimes I think we can be, and I can be this way myself, but sometimes there can be a time when one becomes pedantic. In other words, we have to be so exact, we have to be so completely accurate. And to a point, that's fine. but sometimes I think it gets a little out of hand with some of us. Putin's cats has swapped some midgets. Ooh, that's either very fun or very offensive, but I'm thinking it's probably very fun. Well, what else do we have any? Do we want to talk about any of the sites that I brought up, or do you have any other things like?
Yeah, we could start talking about the sites you brought up.
Okay, mine are not as fascinating as yours. Mine reference back to being pedantic. I am probably one of the most pedantic people in this stream right now. Enigma Severus, I will hold a small position. We as humans are gradually becoming smaller, really, as a human race in general. As we continue in this world, our human, he's talking about our morality and our spirituality. That
You're
is
probably right.
That's very possible. People, yeah. I've got to check that out. I've got to check that out. Okay, so being Mr. Pedantic here, as I am, let's go. I wanted to talk about the possibility of an industrial pre-human civilization having existed on Earth before ours. I love this picture here. And one of the creepier conclusions drawn by scientists studying the Anthropocene, I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
You are pronouncing it right.
Well, thank you. You're very kind. The proposed epoch of Earth's geologic history in which humankind's activities dominate the globe is how closely today's industrial-induced climate change resembles conditions seen in past periods of rapid temperature rise, which, anyway, I'll continue with his before I start interjecting my own random thoughts. But these hyperthermals, the thermal maximum events of prehistory, are the genesis of this research, says Gavin Schmidt, climate modeler and director of the NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies. That would be a job to have. Where do I apply?
Right.
Whether the warming was caused by humans or by natural forces, the fingerprints, the chemical signals and tracers that give evidence of what happened then will look very similar. The canonical example of a hypothermal is the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, a 200,000 year period that occurred some 55.5. And I think this is what you were talking about earlier, or if you weren't talking about it earlier on the stream, you were backstage. Some 55.5 million years ago, when global average temperatures rose by 5 to 8 degrees Celsius. Schmidt has pondered the PETM for his entire career, and it was on his mind one day in 2017 when University of Rochester astrophysicist Adam Frank paid him a visit. I wonder if he's any relation to Anne Frank. Frank came to his office to discuss the idea of studying global warming from an astrobiological perspective. That is, investigating whether the rise of an alien industrial civilization on an exoplanet might necessarily trigger climate changes similar to those we see during Earth's own Anthropocene. But almost before Frank could describe how one might search for the climatic effects of industrial exo-civilizations on newly discovered planets, Schmidt caught him up short with a surprising question. How do you know we're the only time there's been a civilization on our planet? Frank considered a moment before responding with a question of his own. Could we even tell if there had been an industrial civilization long before this one? And we just saw on that video that very likely, very possibly we couldn't. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. Putin's cat thinks it was banned. Who banned you? I have not been told anything about that. Darth Plato says hi. I do know. Well, I don't know him. I don't know him personally.
I knew of Clobby, and unfortunately, he has gone from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as for whether that happened or not, it's called the Silurian hypothesis. It could have happened. There could have been a civilization. The thing is we'll never know about it because of the flow of millions of years of time. Whatever was left of their civilization would be very, very gone.
Gotcha.
Even stone turns to dust over millions of years. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's true. All right.
As for what Putin's cat says here, I think there are more pressing issues to worry about. See, that's the thing. We talk about things here. We're not necessarily talking about the pressing issues, okay?
And
We're talking about ancient times here, buddy.
Sometimes I do, but yeah, that was the topic that Thade and I had agreed to talk about, and so it's okay. You have your right to an opinion on that, but I will suggest that it is at least possible to think of that as a rude comment, because we know that there are pressing issues, but honestly, can you really say that this is not pressing? I mean, this could be the end of civilization. How much more pressing do you want?
And see, here's the thing. Studying what could have happened to ancient civilizations is very pressing to us because, like AJ said on that video I played, it could very well happen to us again.
It could.
So talking about it gets the science to look at it, thus maybe, possibly, who knows, helping us stop it. And that being said, Putin, we could stop an asteroid from hitting us. There's a thing called the DART project. We moved an asteroid. We could possibly move one big, a big asteroid out of our way. And if we can learn to do that, it takes people that are willing to look at these things that we're talking about. And as for, I wanted to answer a question much earlier. What's up, Matt Sheetwood? How you doing, buddy?
Matt Sheetwood, hey. Good to see you here.
Putin's cat says, okay, I'll bite. Go back to that comment.
Okay, right here.
Okay, so he says, okay, I'll bite. Are the current continents the same continents as 100 million years ago? Do they move or do they go under? What you have there is a ship of Theseus debate. Because the land changes over time, the same continents 100 million years ago could be different now. I mean, how many earthquakes does it take to work down a place? How many volcanoes adding to land? I mean, you really want to ask that question? Go look at what's going on in Hawaii. Every time one of those volcanoes erupts, new land is formed. So, is it really the same continent as 100 million years ago? Probably not. It's newer land, and it happens all the time. But you really, like I said, you have a ship of Theseus debate. If you have a ship, and over time you change out every board, every floor, every panel of that ship, is it still the same ship, or is it an entirely new ship? That's a question you have to ask yourself.
That is a good question. And I know that I don't know if the science is still the same now, but back in my day, they used to say that nearly every cell in your body is replaced every 7 years. So in theory, are you the same person?
You are technically a new person.
And JPRPH1, thank you so much for coming into the pedantic debate. And I say pedantic because I'm the pedantic one, but the debate over whether there were earlier civilizations. And I think I'd said hi, but I want to be sure to say hi to Matt Cheatwood just in case I didn't, because the chronic fatigue is real and I don't always remember what I said 5 minutes ago.
Enigma Cerberus says, you guys have some really amazing information. For my position, I am familiar with some continental drift discussions, but you guys got some memorization on these issues. Really cool. Okay, so to explain why I memorized this entirely boring to most people stuff.
No, I'm fascinated by it, or I wouldn't have had you on here to talk. But
I worry about those civilizations that could have existed. I worry about what happened to them could say about what happens to us. So I look at all of this stuff because it interests me. It's part of what I worry about. And yes, do I have existential problem? Do I have existential crises? Of course I do. Do I worry about things I can't solve? Well, yes. I worry about rogue planets because now they say that there could be about 25 million of them out there in our galaxy. Do I worry about wandering black holes? Yes, because there's one only about 4 light years away from us, and it's going to pass our solar system in several million years.
We missed. I think Enigma Severus had made a great comment about how, and I know you and I have both talked about this before, but there are civilizations that we're finding in the Amazon
Right.
because
That
likely,
actually
yeah,
fascinates me
yes,
because
100%.
it's been swallowed by it has been swallowed by the jungle. But we're
Yes,
digging it up now. We're actually lidaring it right now,
yes.
and it seems that there is a New York City sized city in the
Well,
jungle.
so I can't remember his name, but there was a one of the earlier explorers in the Amazon that wrote back. He wrote a history of all these civilizations that he came across, and then 100 years later, or maybe not even that long, they were gone, and everyone just thought that he made them up. And now
Yeah.
we're learning, no, there was some. I mean, he may have got the details wrong for all we know, but there was something there. Um, I'm not sure I know the
Percy
question. What
Percy
was it?
Fawcett, I believe, was that particular archaeologist's name.
God, yes, the one that's doing the lidar or whatever it's called.
Well,
Yeah.
he was no
Or
Percy Fawcett was the guy back in the day, back 100 years or so ago.
okay, gotcha.
He was uh he was looking for a lost city that he called Z. And we thought that after a while he was wrong, like you just said, Curtis. But now we're finding it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's exactly where his notes said it was.
And I think Enigma Severus has a really fascinating idea here about a fictional work about Atlantis as the biggest kingdom that's existed.
Enigma Cerberus, if you have a Twitter, hit me up on Twitter. I actually have a comic book idea that would involve some of that. If you want to talk to me about being a writer on the project, I think I might have a position for you.
That would be cool. And Darth
Atlantis
Plato.
is waiting to be discovered, yes. So tell me, Darth Plato, knowing that you wrote about Atlantis a couple thousand years ago, when did you become a Sith Lord? And have you been using the Force to keep yourself alive for thousands of years?
Oh man. Oh my gosh.
When did you become a Sith Lord?
Enigma Severus believes that Atlantis was off of the coast of Spain.
There is a possibility, and there is an area off of the coast of Spain that could be possibly what they were talking about for Atlantis. But there's also there's like 3 or 4 different areas Atlantis could be. There's some off of the Cuban coast, which there's a city under the water. I think it's about 150 to 200 foot deep. There's what looks like pyramids down there. There's also a possibility of being off the coast of Spain. They've actually found an area that they're doing archaeological digs at right now, underwater archaeological digs. There's also Doggerland in the North Sea above the UK, which was part of the UK at one point before it collapsed into the sea. There's also a possibility of what Matt Sheetwood is talking about, the Ricot
Yes.
structure, the Eye of the Sahara. Um, Technically, yes, it is off the coast of Spain, and one time it could have been underwater.
They're all connected. I mean, Enigma Severus saying on what he is saying, I would suggest, or Enigma would suggest, all of them are, meaning they were all connected. The fiction part is they had teleportation to a multiverse. That's really cool. And yeah, Enigma Severus has done a lot of research on a lot of things. Hold on, I'm going to put myself on mute and turn my phone off. Okay, I'm back. All right. How much longer do we want to keep going?
Hold on just a
Cephalopod?
minute.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm doing something real quick. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to drop something in the chat for me real quick.
Okay. Oh, are you going to be putting a comment in the private chat?
I am going to be putting my email address in the private chat, and I want you to drop it into the chat.
Yeah, happy to do that.
For anybody who wants it.
All right. That's a cool email. Now, if I'm smart
Rise
enough.
above this like the phoenix, yes.
Okay, save. No. Ever since my hard drive went down, everything's just been so difficult. There we go. All right, and here we have Fade's email. Please don't spam it around.
That is my email. If you send it to other people and they bug me, I will hold you responsible, and I will hunt you down and skin you alive to make a leather coat out of your flesh. Don't mess with me. I know how to embalm you, sir. I had a thought and it ran away. Damn it! I hate getting old.
I try to think and nothing happens. Yes, Matt Cheatwood. He recommended this book to me some years back, and I skipped a meal and bought it and read it. It was really cool. It's The Man Who Folded Himself.
Hold on just a minute. Approach. I am going to look that up on one of my apps. Give me a second. I have an app called Everand, which sometimes I can find free books on. Woohoo!
Ooh. Oh, I don't need more free books. I have too many books as it is.
Well, it's free digital. It's free digital books.
Oh, I got you.
The man he folded himself. Oh, it's not available there, but it could be available elsewhere. The moon folded. No, stop it. Himself.
All right. And I've left Enigma's email in the private chat. Mr. Primus. All right.
Oh no! Don't die! Don't die!
Cephalopod, do you use SSD drives?
Yes, I do.
There you go. There you go. And
Matt, I like them. They're nice.
Yeah, the multiverse theories are always very fascinating. What I love, now correct me if I'm wrong, Matt Cheatwood, but I believe the author of that book also wrote, he wrote some Star Trek episodes. And I could be mistaken, so I won't repeat what I'm thinking it is, but he also wrote some of the episodes from the short-lived television series of Logan's Run. So, yeah, the guy's a legit author. Yeah, he is a legit author. I think Enigma Sever says he thinks the multiverse does exist.
Well, what's interesting is we have out there in the universe, we have these things called voids. And there is a theory going around that what a void is a place where our universe bumped up against another one and has bruised our universe.
That would be cool. Darth Plato is saying he might be visiting Stanford for possibly attending philosophy grad school.
Oh, that's awesome. Enigma, I just sent you an email that simply says howdy. So now we have a connection.
Is that how you got your name, Darth Plato? That is very interesting. And honestly, Putin's Cats was joking that I have a date, but I honestly probably should be wrapping this up because there is a phone call I need to make here in a bit. So.
I was sitting in on a class and the teacher was denigrating the classical philosophers. The professor said, imagine the Vader theme music whenever you hear about classics. So I defended the ancients. After back and forth, he said to me, everyone, I now proclaim you Darth Plato. I now proclaim you Darth Vader.
Ah. So what was it?
Well, of course he didn't.
Was there something you wanted me to share? Because I may need to go make a phone call for about.
No, we can go ahead. We can go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay. I hate to do that, but I probably.
You're fine. Hey, if that phone call is a lady, you'd better make that phone call. Like Mr. Miyagi said in Karate Kid 2, Daniel-san, never leave a lady waiting.
So the long and the short is we don't really know if there were civilizations older than the Help an Old Man Out, the one that the Anatolian civilization.
Yeah.
Because it's quite possible that it would have all been wiped out.
Also, do remember, though we call it Göbekli Tepe now, or Bangkulu Tarlo, or Karahan Tepe, or any of those names, those are probably not the names those sites were originally named by. Hell, we don't even know what civilization created them.
No, we really don't.
The people that like, there's still people who think that the people who built those were hunter-gatherers, and I if they believe that, I have some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell them.
Ooh, I want to buy. I mean,
I also can throw the Golden Gate Bridge in for free.
Ooh, sign me up. I'm in.
So that's a great country song, by the way.
It really is.
Oceanfront property in Arizona.
Are you going to be on the karaoke tonight?
Yes, I intend on singing my little heart out.
I will probably be skipping it because one, I have the phone call and then I have to work tomorrow. So
hey, Curtis. Mm-hmm. All I have to say about your phone call is what it is. What it
is. What it is. It is
what it could be.
Well, let's say thank you to the people in the chat.
Quick PSA about next episode. I intend on researching with Curtis this week about the Silurian hypothesis.
Ooh.
And we will come back with information about that next week.
That sounds fascinating. Same bat time, same bat channel, or similar?
Same bat time, same bat channel.
All right. Thank you very much. And I'm so sorry. I know I'm rushing everyone away, but I would like to thank Moira Kitty, Meow Meow. It's always good to see her. Negma Severus, you're very supportive, very kind, and very intelligent, as are you at Putin's Cat. Thank you very much. I will try to remember. I need to, you know what? I will just get it put up right now so I don't forget, because otherwise I will. Putin's Cat. And I will be sure before I go to bed to take a look at the face swap. Marvel as I hunt and peck for Putin's cat. Tired blogging. Okay, and you know what? I will also drop the link in the chat. I probably should have done that for all of you people, but I am the tired blogging part. That's a real thing. The tired is very real. Connie Cleary, the loyal bird woman of YouTube, and I will be talking with her tomorrow, I believe at 4:00 Central. I hope I have that right. And we'll be discussing her channel and birds and the late night radio shows that somehow or other she's producing or something.
Enigma servers. I do have a question. Your YouTube channel, is it a avatar of the Joker in the avatar?
Let's just get him put in there too. Maybe, if I'm smart enough to do that.
stream longer.
Oh man, I'm really kind of tempted. Would you be all right, like playing solo, and then I can get my call done in about 10 or 20 minutes and come back?
I've actually got to eat real quick before I even go over
food
to.
is good.
Yeah, I've got to eat real quick before I even go over to the karaoke stream. So
No, that
not
makes sense.
tonight, guys, but next week we can actually have a longer show. The Silurian hypothesis is something we can dig really deep into.
It will be fun. Okay, and I'm putting Enigma Severus, his site in here. And who else? I know there was Matt Cheatwood and Darth Plato and JPRPH1. Thank you all.
Yes, Putin's cat. Outlaw Bill stream, yes.
Outlaw
Enigma, I just subscribed to your channel. I will give it a check. I will give it a look when I have some time.
And I think the Silurians and the Sea Devils. That might come up. That might just come up.
We are also going to talk about other possible civilizations.
Cool. Good night, JPRPH1, and thank you very much. He and I are also trying to come up with some topics. I'm trying to sucker the guy into coming back because he didn't suffer enough last time we talked.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Outlaw does really hate the Acolyte, and I haven't got a dog in that fight because I haven't watched it. Well,
Outlaw hates the Acolyte. I have to disagree with him. I don't completely hate it. There's some good stuff in it. There's some bad stuff in it, just like most of Disney Star Wars.
Yep.
I am not one to come and go. I am not one to come to and go, hey, this particular entertainment is bad or good, because I am one of those Hollywood leeches. So
no,
it's all good.
I kind of have a different view of Hollywood than most of the culture warriors have. That's why I'm not part of the culture wars. So
yeah.
I have to view my employers in a different way. So
well, sir, it was very good talking to you. Do you have any last words? What would you like on your tombstone?
I would like Cephalopod Primus etched onto my stone.
Ooh.
Father of all cephalopods. And future ruler, God Emperor of your planet.
I used to have this joke that what I wanted was a mile circumference burial mound with mounted skeletal warriors periodically surrounding it. And at the very top, I wanted an enormous monolith with carved into it the words, "He's dead," and nothing else.
Well, I would actually like, if you want to be honest, my tomb, like just the stone on the capstone on the outside of my tomb could say Cephalopod Primus, God Emperor of planet Earth.
Nice.
But inside my tomb, I want my sarcophagus on an island.
Ooh.
In the middle of a mercury lake, a lake made of quicksilver. Surrounded by terracotta soul. Oh, wait a minute. That was Emperor QG.
All right. Well, thank you for the stream. It was very fascinating. I think it was entertaining. I hope. And I'm very glad that we did this, and we will have a second episode next week. So I'll play a little bit of music. Not that music, though. I don't like that music. I'll play the standard stuff. And I don't have much of an outro to say, but I stole something from JPRPH1, who gave me a line from the Tick. Oh, and Putin's cat has increased on subs, which is great. And so is Darth Plato. Or something. Wait. So once was I, as I am now. Soon you may be. Prepare for death and follow me. Oh, yes. Very good.
All I have to say is, and this will be the last thing I have to say.
Yes, sir.
Oh, where'd my screens go? Never mind.
Do you need me to share? Let you share something?
I said no. The last thing I have to say to all of you is, we happy few. We band of buggered.
Well, my outro has become, please hold. Your call is very important to us. No, my outro has become, you're not going mad. You're going sane in a world gone mad. Thank you very much for listening, and all of you have fun with the karaoke. I likely won't be there, so sing your hearts out for me. And tell Bill I had one new message.
You have 7 minutes to reach minimum safe distance. You have 7 minutes to reach minimum safe distance.
And Bill's got 7 people singing out there. Yeah, go sing your heart out, Thade, and I will
All right,
be
man.
there in spirit. Appreciate you guys.
Like I said, hope it goes well with the lady.
We shall see.
You take it easy, brother. I'll talk to you a little bit later
Good
this week.
night. Yes, yes.